But first, the battle for Mosul. The months-long siege by Iraqi forces with U.S. support has taken back about half the city. Signs of life are returning to those areas, while a new offensive is in the works to capture the rest from ISIS control. Special correspondent Jane Ferguson and videographer Alessandro Pavone have our report.
Weaving through recaptured streets of eastern Mosul, Colonel Nazar Naji takes us to the Iraqi army outposts under his command. His men are positioned on rooftops, watching for any signs of ISIS fighters coming across the Tigris River that flows through the city. Recently, he tells me, around 50 fighters managed to cross and attack this position.
They have been trying to break into the eastern side of the city because they are now surrounded on the west side. They are besieged by the Iraqi army, militias, and police.
Since the campaign to drive ISIS out of Mosul began nearly 4 months ago, Iraqi forces, backed by U.S. air support and special forces, have retaken the eastern side of the city, up to the river. The western side is now completely surrounded, and ISIS is under siege. An Iraqi military offensive to retake the rest of the city is expected to start at any time. Meanwhile, ISIS sharpshooters are still killing soldiers on the government-controlled side. Because of ISIS snipers just across the river, we need to use these trucks as protection. These neighborhoods were recaptured by Iraq's U.S.-trained special forces after brutal fighting. Come on. It's now up to the regular Iraqi army to try to hold the line. Colonel Naji hears on the radio a position nearby is coming under heavy fire, and he races there to lead his soldiers. Backup arrives with heavy weaponry.
There is an attack by ISIS, and the Humvees are going to support them. There is only one injury, God willing.
For these men, the fear is that this attack is only to distract them while ISIS sneaks fighters across the river. The front line is just up here. That's where the river Tigris is. And ISIS fighters are trying to push the Iraqi army back. Nearby, the unit responds with mortars. The one casualty, a soldier hit in the head with some shrapnel, is patched up and raced away from the front line. But just a short distance from there, a remarkable sight. Mosul's streets are again vibrant. Life has returned to areas recaptured from ISIS. Even traffic jams are common. Just weeks ago, these streets were deadly battlegrounds. Now shops and restaurants are open for business. Open-air markets take place every day, packed with people. Under ISIS, food shortages were severe and prices crippling. Getting food is now easier, but life is still tough.
There is no water and no electricity. We are pumping water out of old wells, and it's not clean. People can get very sick from it.
The men at this tea stall are relieved that their neighborhood is safe now, but they have other worries.
Education is also so important. For 3 years, our children have not gone to school. They are behind with their studies.
That's changing for many children in eastern Mosul. 250 teenage boys attend this school. These young men would have been targeted for recruitment into the ranks of ISIS fighters. These boys are so determined to be here, they have come despite the lack of electricity and freezing temperatures in the classroom. They haven't been in school for years, and the teachers are delighted to see them.
100% of the students in this area loving coming to school. They excited to study.
Iraqis still living on the ISIS side of the river don't have that chance. Hundreds of thousands of people are still trapped there. Sometimes the brave risk their lives making a run for it. Back at the riverside, the army unit has spotted 2 men trying to cross a bridge nearby. They move into position to watch for them. Captain Amr Abdel Sada tracks them as they approach. An armored Humvee is moved in front of the bridge. In these tense moments, the soldiers have to determine whether the men approaching them are innocent civilians or suicide bombers. This happens a lot, says the captain.
Every day we try to secure families trying to cross towards us and give them covering fire, because ISIS are using their snipers on them.
They're scared?
The people on the other side are afraid, but whenever they cross to us and we accept them, we calm them down and tell them everything is okay. We are the security forces. We are your brothers, and we are here to free you.
Then they appear. They've taken their clothes off to prove they're not hiding weapons or explosives. Relieved and still frightened, they have survived a perilous escape from ISIS territory. But they are part of a tiny trickle of people making it out. The rest remain trapped on the other side of this divided city. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Jane Ferguson in Mosul, Iraq.